Imagine this. Elon Musk, the billionaire inventor and entrepreneur who has already sent rockets into orbit and put electric cars on highways worldwide, suddenly decides the American political system is beyond repair. Not content with shaking up the auto industry through Tesla or redefining space travel with SpaceX, Musk now sets his sights on the ultimate launch, propelling a brand new political party into the heart of American democracy. This is not science fiction or speculative fantasy. This is unfolding in real time, and the aftershocks could reshape the country for generations to come. Just this week, Musk made a thunderous announcement. He is vowing to create a new movement, the America Party. For those who might dismiss this as empty posturing, consider Musk's track record. He has repeatedly transformed wild, futuristic visions into reality, whether it's the first reusable rockets or the mass production of affordable electric vehicles. When Musk makes a vow, history suggests we should pay attention. The immediate trigger for Musk's latest crusade is the so-called Big Beautiful Bill. This is no ordinary piece of legislation. Championed by President Donald Trump and passed with support from both major parties, the bill combines sweeping tax cuts with vast government spending. On the surface, it is promoted as a way to stimulate economic growth and keep essential government functions running. But buried deep within the bill are provisions that have set off alarm bells among economists, policy experts, and political outsiders alike. At the core of the controversy is an eye-popping proposal. The bill would raise the nation's debt ceiling by an unprecedented $5 trillion. To comprehend the magnitude, think of it this way. That single increase vastly exceeds the annual economic output of all but a handful of countries. To put it in further perspective, the United States' gross domestic product is the largest in the world, but even for this economic giant, adding $5 trillion to the debt ceiling in one go is historic. According to the Congressional Budget Office and independent analysts, this move could push America's debt-to-GDP ratio to a staggering 183% by the middle of this century, specifically by the year 2054. For comparison, even during the peaks of World War II, the United States did not reach these levels. In fact, such a debt burden would dwarf those of countries that have previously flirted with fiscal collapse, such as Greece or Argentina. Musk's reaction has been explosive. His outrage is not just about fiscal discipline, it is deeply personal. Only a year ago, in a rare display of bipartisan unity, Musk was appointed to head the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE for short. This new agency was created with a singular mission: to root out waste, streamline bureaucracy, and bring Silicon Valley's relentless focus on efficiency to the federal government. Under Musk's leadership, DOGE conducted sweeping audits, overhauled outdated procurement systems, and even piloted artificial intelligence to detect fraud and redundancy. Early reports indicate DOGE saved the government tens of billions of dollars across multiple departments, a rare feat in Washington. So when Musk saw the Big Beautiful Bill, laden with spending earmarks, industry-specific handouts, and the largest debt ceiling increase ever, he interpreted it as a direct assault on the very work DOGE was meant to accomplish. His response was immediate and public. On his social media platform X, where he commands an audience of over 220 million followers, Musk posted, "Anyone who campaigned on reducing spending but votes for this monstrosity should hang their heads in shame." But he did not stop there. In a flurry of posts, Musk threatened to unleash primary challengers against nearly every Republican in Congress, declaring with characteristic bravado, "They will lose their primary next year if it is the last thing I do on this earth." Beneath the headline-grabbing rhetoric, Musk's fury has a second, more personal layer. Hidden in the bill's fine print is a provision to phase out subsidies for electric vehicles, potentially dealing a serious blow to Tesla, Musk's flagship company. In response, the White House countered that Musk's opposition is rooted in self-interest. President Trump, never one to shy away from a confrontation, fired back, "Elon's fortune has been built on government subsidies. Without them, he'd have to close up shop and head back to South Africa." This exchange ignited a firestorm of debate about the role of government in fostering innovation. Musk has long claimed that his ventures, whether in electric vehicles, rockets, or solar power, are about building the future, not just cashing in on government largesse. In his own words, this bill gives handouts to industries of the past while severely damaging industries of the future. In a particularly pointed post, Musk called for an end to all subsidies, writing, "I am literally saying, cut it all, now." This is not simply a battle over tax breaks or spending priorities. At stake is a fundamental question. Will America choose to invest in emerging, transformative technologies, Or will it double down on industries whose best days may be behind them? The public, it seems, is paying attention. In a poll Musk shared with his followers, a striking 80% of respondents, 4 out of every 5 Americans, expressed support for a new political party to represent the broad center, the so-called exhausted majority, caught between the extremes of left and right. While dissatisfaction with the two-party system is hardly new, the sheer scale of this support is remarkable. For decades, polls have registered discontent with Democrats and Republicans alike, yet the system has proven remarkably resilient, often stifling third-party efforts before they can gain real traction. Dr. Helen Brooks, a leading political scientist, draws a vivid analogy. The two-party system is like a fortress, its walls built from centuries of laws and customs. No third party has breached it at the national level since the 19th century. She points to a web of structural obstacles: winner-take-all elections, restrictive ballot access laws, and campaign finance regulations that heavily favor established parties. For example, in many states, new parties must collect tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, of signatures simply to appear on the ballot, while Democrats and Republicans enjoy automatic access. In some states, these requirements are so burdensome that legal battles drag on for months, draining resources and sapping the morale of would-be challengers. And the costs are staggering. Running a competitive national campaign in America is a billion-dollar enterprise. Even Musk's personal fortune, estimated at over $200 billion, is not a guarantee of success. Building a national campaign infrastructure requires not only money, but also a vast network of grassroots volunteers, sophisticated digital operations, legal teams, and a media strategy capable of breaking through the relentless noise of the 24-hour news cycle. Most third-party efforts falter not because of lack of ideas, but because they run out of cash, energy, or both. Yet experts argue that Musk is uniquely positioned to overcome these obstacles. Jamal Reyes, a veteran campaign strategist, observes, "If anyone can break through, it's someone who has both the resources and the public profile of Elon Musk. He commands a global audience, and he knows how to seize the media narrative." Musk's ability to ignite debate and rally supporters across the political spectrum, from disillusioned progressives to libertarian-leaning conservatives, gives him an edge that few third-party challengers have enjoyed. One wild card in this unfolding drama is ranked choice voting. Already adopted in states like Maine and Alaska, ranked choice voting allows voters to rank candidates by preference, reducing the risk that a third-party vote will inadvertently help elect their least favorite option. Advocates believe that this system could be the lever that finally cracks open the two-party monopoly, enabling movements like Musk's America Party to build momentum at the local and state level before mounting a serious presidential bid. However, the graveyard of American politics is littered with the remains of third-party efforts that began with a bang and ended with a whimper. Consider Ross Perot's Reform Party in the 1990s, which briefly captured the public imagination but faded amid internal strife. The Green and Libertarian parties have spent decades fighting for relevance, often managing only to play spoiler roles in close races. Even high-profile insurgencies, like Teddy Roosevelt's Bull Moose Progressive Party in 1912, or George Wallace's segregationist campaign in 1968, succeeded in winning states or shaping the national conversation, but ultimately failed to topple the two-party order. In the half-century since Wallace's run, no third-party candidate has carried a single state in a presidential election. So what might happen if Musk's America Party becomes a reality? The possibilities are both exhilarating and fraught with peril. On one hand, the party could tap into a wellspring of frustration among voters who feel ignored by the current political establishment. Younger Americans in particular may be drawn to Musk's message of technological progress, government reform, and bold thinking. On the other hand, the new party could split the anti-establishment vote, inadvertently helping whichever major party is better organized and entrenched. Political scientists warn that third parties often serve as spoilers, reshaping outcomes without winning power themselves. Legal challenges are already in the works. The Big Beautiful Bill's vast debt ceiling hike, its controversial healthcare provisions, and its changes to tax policy are being scrutinized by advocacy groups and state attorneys general. Under the bill, stricter Medicaid work requirements could strip millions of Americans of health coverage, while the provisions for phasing out clean energy tax incentives have sparked fierce debates within the Republican Party itself. The Congressional Budget Office estimates the bill could add more than $3,400 billion to the deficit by the year 2034. Some of the tax breaks contained in the bill are set to expire as soon as the year 2028, creating further uncertainty for businesses and households alike. Details like these matter. The expiration of deductions for tip wages and overtime, for example, could affect millions of workers in the service sector. The bill's gradual phase-out of electric vehicle subsidies threatens to slow adoption of clean transportation technologies, potentially undermining America's position in the global race for green innovation. Meanwhile, the slower phase-out of clean energy tax breaks in the Senate version, compared to the House version, reflects sharp divisions even within the Republican Party, as lawmakers weigh the priorities of fossil fuel states against the demands of a changing energy landscape. For Musk, the risks extend far beyond politics. His aggressive stance puts him at odds with not only policymakers, but also potential customers and investors. Tesla and SpaceX have both benefited from government contracts and incentives. By publicly challenging the system that has helped his companies thrive, Musk risks regulatory reprisals, boycotts, or even divestment by institutional investors wary of political volatility. Yet, as those close to him attest, Musk appears motivated by a conviction that the stakes are existential, not just for his own enterprises, but for the future of American innovation and leadership. To understand the gravity of this moment, it helps to look back at American history. The political landscape of the United States has never been static. In the 1850s, the collapse of the Whig Party paved the way for the Republican Party, a third party at the time, to rise and eventually dominate national politics. The Great Depression saw the forging of new coalitions that reshaped the social contract. Periods of acute polarization, like the Civil Rights era or the Vietnam War years, have generated bursts of third-party activism, though such movements rarely achieve lasting success. Dr. Lisa Zhang of Yale University notes, "History teaches us that the rules of the game matter as much as the players. No third party has ever truly broken through without changes to the electoral system itself." Meanwhile, public trust in government languishes at historic lows. Recent surveys by Pew Research Center and Gallup indicate that fewer than 1 in 5 Americans trust Washington to do what is right most of the time. Economic headwinds, from the rising cost of living to stagnant wage growth, have left millions feeling left behind. The promise of the Big Beautiful Bill to stimulate growth rings hollow to families anxious about mounting national debt, potential tax hikes, and the threat of cuts to vital social programs. The Yale Budget Lab's projections are sobering. If current trends persist, the national debt could reach an astounding 183% of GDP by the year 2054. This would pose profound risks to national security, the government's ability to invest in research and infrastructure, and even the financial stability of future generations. For ordinary Americans, the stakes are personal and immediate. The Big Beautiful Bill could change your tax bill, your health insurance, and your job prospects. The bill's impact on electric vehicle subsidies will affect whether American manufacturers can compete in the fast-growing global market for clean tech. Cuts to clean energy incentives could slow the fight against climate change and limit the creation of high-quality jobs in emerging sectors. The debate is not just about numbers on a spreadsheet, it is about the type of economy and society Americans want to build. Musk's proposed America Party could force both Democrats and Republicans to address issues they have long sidestepped: government waste, the future of innovation, and the need for electoral reform. Even if the party does not capture the presidency or control of Congress, it could have outsized influence, much as the populist and progressive parties did in the early 20th century. Jamal Reyes sums it up. "Sometimes, you don't have to win to change the game. You just have to make the game impossible to ignore." How can viewers and voters respond to such seismic changes? First, recognize that even the most entrenched systems can be challenged, but only through broad participation, strategic thinking, and a willingness to engage with the rules as they stand. Grassroots activism, pressure for reforms like ranked choice voting, and support for pragmatic, reform-minded candidates at the local and state level are all practical steps. Second, stay vigilant about the real economic implications of the Big Beautiful Bill. The political drama between Musk and Trump may dominate headlines, but the bill's details will reverberate for decades. Increases in the debt ceiling, shifts in healthcare policy, and tax code changes will shape job opportunities, wage growth, and the government's capacity to respond to future crises. The Congressional Budget Office's warning that the bill could add trillions to the deficit is not just dry accounting, it is a flashing red light for anyone concerned about America's long-term prosperity. Third, Appreciate that technological leadership is not guaranteed. The United States became the world's leading economy through sustained investment in research, education, and infrastructure. If policy now pivots to propping up legacy industries rather than supporting new ones, the country risks ceding the next generation of breakthrough technologies to global competitors. Musk's call to end all subsidies, while radical, is a challenge to both parties to rethink how taxpayer dollars are spent, and to ensure that public investment drives the nation forward, not backward. Finally, remember that democracy thrives on engagement. Whether you see Musk as a visionary reformer or a self-interested provocateur, the lesson is the same. Your voice matters. American history is full of moments when public frustration boiled over, leading to real and lasting change. Sometimes it takes an unexpected catalyst, a Teddy Roosevelt, a Ross Perot, or perhaps an Elon Musk, to ignite a movement that cannot be ignored. To recap, the Big Beautiful Bill represents a fiscal gamble with far-reaching consequences. Elon Musk's threat to launch the America Party is not just a headline, it is a manifestation of deep, widespread dissatisfaction with the status quo and a hunger for alternatives. The road ahead is fraught with legal, structural, and political obstacles, but the potential for genuine disruption is undeniable. As the story unfolds, it is up to every citizen, policymaker, and innovator to decide which future America will choose. If you found this analysis enlightening, be sure to subscribe for more in-depth explorations of global economics, technology, and politics. And join the conversation in the comments. Is the America Party the shakeup the country needs, or just another chapter in a year of